In this video, I want to basically explain how this works. Most people think of a nerve becoming paralyzed as something's inhibiting the nerve. Well, in this case, it's overstimulation of the nerve. What it causes is the nerve to stay in a partial or total refractory period, so therefore the nerve becomes weak because it doesn't recover to fire again. It's basic neuroanatomy. You overstimulate a nerve, it can become paralyzed. You inhibit a nerve, it can become paralyzed. Like with local anesthetic, it can become paralyzed. Now, in my case, I've got vagal nerve stimulation, which causes my heart rate to go up because it overstimulates the vagus, thus inhibiting the vagus nerve, thus the sympathetics increase the heart rate. Same thing is true in the pancreas. Overstimulating the vagus, causing decreased secretion of insulin, thus inhibiting insulin being secreted, glucose goes up. Same back to the heart. Inhibit the vagus by overstimulation, sympathetics kick in, high blood pressure. Now, why is that important? For the last 25 years, every time the government has tried to make me have the diagnosis of hypertension, I go to the doctor, my blood pressure is 180 or 120. Starting back as far back as 1996 when I was on active duty. Yet, every time I've had surgery, without any medication during that period of time, 25 years, my blood pressure has been normal for surgery. Now that's interesting. Here's another interesting tidbit. The second last interns I went to after being so-called diagnosed with diabetes, which I don't have, I decided to do something just to see what this is all about. This is what led to me discovering the things I'm telling you today. Number one, the doctor prescribed me 5 medications for someone who was newly diagnosed with hypertension in his eyes. Okay, so what I decided to do, my appointment, an hour before the appointment, I decided to double by taking 2 of every blood pressure pill he gave me. Labetalol, Norvasc, I don't remember what they were, diuretic, calcium channel blocker, right? Had 5 pills. It cost $1,000 to fill the prescription. Took it, and the interesting thing about it was my blood pressure still was 180 or 120. How do you explain that? You explain it by radio frequency implants that were implanted without my consent. Bottom line. It's an unbelievable story, and I may lose the telling of the story, but the truth of the matter is I'm right. As I've been the whole time, this 25-year process. I knew that something wasn't right. And I'm suffering because of it. In America, you're supposed to be able to stand up for your rights, file what you believe to be true, and have it adjudicated. In this case, filed a case in 2013, has not one defendant, new or old, answered the complaint. Now, concerning my torture with radio frequency implants without consent, Judge Claude, this is how he described that. Well, if he was really being tortured, his supervisor would know. Now, tell me how my supervisor is going to know that my legs are swelling up from the intense pain, that I have radio frequency implants that are microchips. They're not visible. Now, if you recall the video in the past, they said they wouldn't use vaccines and flu shots. I found that interesting because one center, Outpatient Surgical Services, for 2 years insisted that I get a vaccine for the flu or I couldn't continue to work. Now, I worked there for 4 years. The other 2 years, it wasn't important to them. Which, if you think succinctly and logically, they put implants. Now, what were those implants? Well, I've had so-called diabetes for the last 3 years. In the last 3 years, I've probably checked my sugar 10 times. In the last year, I've checked my sugar 0 times. Yet I take insulin, and I take metformin in various combinations at various times, and I've never been hypoglycemic, and except for I was trending hypoglycemic, and I told the doctor, and he said reduce the insulin. And when I went to his office, my glucose was like 90. Which means it doesn't stay 90, it fluctuates, so I was probably right. That's the most interesting thing about all of this. I've been right about it all. The problem is the people torturing me are the government. And the court is the government. Therefore, I get no say in the court. They lie, they cheat. Judge even filed a case for me. The current case. I didn't file that. I filed a case 10 days prior to that, which is sitting out in legal limbo. No one's adjudicating it. No one's answering it. No one's doing anything to it. I don't even know where it is. That's the only original of the two cases. And you need an original to open the case. So, enough. It's been 5 minutes. They don't do well with more than 5 minutes. But God be with you, and hopefully he gives me my day of freedom. I pray for it, because I suffer right now, every day.